You're listening to episode 296 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman.
Well, hello, podcast crew. I hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. If you are listening to this the week it's out, you'll be battling half term, and I hope you're battling well. Hope the weather's nice. What I want to talk about today is TikTok. Maybe not how you'd expect, though. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm not here to talk about different people's policies and how they're running it. But the election is something that is, God, it's everywhere, isn't it? You can barely open your phone without something popping up telling you about who's done what and who said this and who's done that. What I want to talk about from an election point of view is the marketing of it, and particularly how I've seen Labour content and I've seen Conservative content on TikTok. You may have seen others. Please tell me if you have. The Labour one was a bit more difficult to find because there were quite a few accounts, but I'm pretty confident I've got the right one. And I just think the whole thing is really, really interesting. And I'll tell you for why. Now, one of the key rules of marketing, any marketing, is you go where your customers are. And when I'm working with clients one-to-one, we think about the target audience for anything we're doing. If it's a new product or a new service, you think about your target audience. If you've got a company that's got a clear audience, but often the audiences can be segmented into different things. Now, if you think she's clearly talking rubbish, stick with me. So let's say you were a supermarket and you had a range of ready meals, you had a range of ingredients, organic ingredients, and you had a range of baby food. Now, okay, there are some people that are going to buy all of those, but what you would probably do is think, okay, well, for the baby food, we're targeting parents. So you think about the age range of that, you think about the kind of places that they hang out online, what magazines they read, what websites they visit, what blogs they read, and if you were looking to advertise or promote yourself, you would look to get involved there. Let's say with the organic ingredients, you're looking at perhaps people who are more aware of what they eat. They are perhaps more into nutrition, maybe even wellness. You probably think, well, actually, if they're buying organic produce, that's usually a little bit more money, so they're slightly more affluent. They might be young professionals or professionals. And you would start to, again, form this target audience. And sometimes these people get called names. So you'd have, Julia would be the young mum, and, Karen would be the professional. And then perhaps you think, okay, well, this particular ready meal range is aimed at people who are single, perhaps slightly older. Perhaps it is made with, maybe it's more kind of popular, traditional flavours that you think, okay, a slightly older demographic are going to really get that. That's why we've developed it. And again, you would form your audience and you would know that audience. You would understand what made them tick, where they hung out, what was interesting, the language they used, etc., etc., etc. So keep all that in mind. Now, if you're thinking of, promoting a political party and trying to be the new party that leads the country, what you would do, I would think, I don't work for any politicians, is you would look at your audience and go, right, okay, so we've got the whole of the UK that we want to attract. Now that means when you put out messages, no one's going to particularly resonate with it because it's too scattergun. If you just put out a bland message, we're going to do better, people go, great, cheers, that means nothing. If you start to, though, drill down on the individual policies and the audience that each of those policies is aimed at, it starts to get more interesting because people think you're speaking to them. Now, how do we do this? Well, we look at where those audiences consume their media. How do they get it? And of course, you'll have, debates on the television that hits a certain target audience. But we know more and more that people of particularly a younger demographic don't spend a whole lot of time watching their TV. They're much more likely to spend time on social media, on YouTube, on different platforms. Equally, they're probably not going to be looking at ads in a broadsheet newspaper because they don't buy broadsheet newspapers. That doesn't mean that the ad in the broadsheet newspaper doesn't work for a different target audience, but perhaps on that ad you would put something that you would think, this is going to absolutely appeal to the people reading this newspaper. So you need to look at the audience broadly, and we need to do this with our businesses as well. This isn't just something for politics. This is something that we need to do with our businesses, with when we're trying to promote a message, whatever we're doing. We look at the audience and we start to group it, and we start to think, okay, well, this product, this service, this policy is what I'm promoting. Who is the target audience and where do they hang out? Now, let's fast forward a little, or let's just skip to what is going on in TikTok at the moment. And I think this is really interesting. So I've been looking at the Conservative content, and I have been looking at the Labour content as well. And I was first sort of alerted to the fact that the parties were using TikTok as a pretty powerful tool. I feel like it was this weekend just gone. I think Rishi Sunak put out something around the national service concept, and it went all over the newspaper. So quite interesting that actually through putting it onto a social media platform aimed at a slightly younger demographic, it's going out to places where a slightly older, slightly different demographic are going to absorb it. Now, on the Conservative TikTok account, I'm going to open it up on my phone now so I can give you accurate information as per now. Of course, you know, when you go and look, just because life, it's going to change. But let's have a look. So currently, the Conservative TikTok account has got 16,000 followers and has had 140,000 likes. But the first post went up one day ago, and all about the national service concept that they have introduced, and it's already got 1.4 million views. And it's also got, 11.2 thousand comments, 93.2 thousand likes, over 8,000 saves, over 21,000 shares. So it's got a lot of traction very quickly. And I think what they've done really, really well, regardless of political views, like I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm no way qualified to advise you what you should do. But I'm saying if we look at this from a content point of view and a creation point of view and from a social media point of view, I think they've done an exceptional job. They've done this because they've created the content for the platform. It is filmed in portrait. They have put subtitles on it. They've also punctuated it with emojis, with effects. They have moved the camera in and out. They started quite snappy and to get people engaged and interested. It's clearly made for the platform. And I think that is why it is so effective. I think it's also professional. I think it comes across well. The sound quality is good. The visual is good. It's well filmed, not over edited. But I think it's really good. Even if you hate the Conservatives, go and have a look. It's just Conservatives, I think. Is that no? It's UK Conservatives. That is their handle. So they have done that. Then they did another one, which was about reactions to the national service concept from what do you think it's called? So they've gone and they have asked people what they think about it, and they've got information there. That's got over 57,000 views, and then they are analysing the people in the Labour Party and explained why they are potential threats. So that's quite, interesting. So they've really gone down the angle of making content that fits the platform, and they've continued to do that. The last couple of ones I've seen are where Rishi takes a comment that's been put up on one of his posts and he addresses it very directly, and he talks about answers that person's question really. So again, really using the platform, using what works on the platform, and doubling down on that even. I think double downing is a phrase. Now I'm going to just nip over to the Labour one. Now I'll be honest, I'm still not 100% sure this is the right one, because I went on their website to try and make sure that I had the right one, and they didn't have a link to their TikTok, but we're going to say it's this one. We're going to say it is UK Labour because it has been verified and it says promoted by a member of the Labour Party. So we're going to just run with it. If it's not correct, I massively apologise. You may want to look into that. So the whole account has got 57.9 thousand followers and it's got 1.1 million likes. And there's various different videos on here, a lot more videos than are on the Conservative account. But let's have a little look at it. So the first one, this only went up 7 minutes ago, so there's no point in talking about that one. I'm going to go, because I haven't looked at it, I'm going to go to the next one down. And this is where Sir Keir Starmer has basically been asked questions on a panel. He's giving some kind of presentation. I can't think of the correct word for this. But what they've done is he's not addressing the audience. He's addressing the audience in the room, but he's not addressing the audience on TikTok. The eye contact is at the person who's asked the question in the audience. So instantly, I'm not personally as engaged with what he's saying, even if what he's saying is brilliant. They have got subtitles on that I like, which is good, but they've done quite a few of these. It's from a rally, isn't it? I think that's the correct word. So for me, I'm not massively engaged with that. Then what they've done, which I personally really don't like, is, and this is something that a lot of creators do, is when they take snippets of films, TV shows, whatever, and put like a POV thing, so point of view. And they have taken a bit of Harry Potter and they have put something over it about not responding to the National Service letter. For me, I just think, no. I don't like this kind of content anyway, though, because it just doesn't sit well with me. And if I'm thinking of somebody from a professional point of view, I particularly don't like it. So there's quite a lot of this kind of content. Cilla Black singing Surprise, Surprise. Doesn't really work for me at all. But that's not to say it wouldn't really work for you. So I just think that it's all very, very interesting. They have done some content which is clearly TikTok, made for TikTok, made to be native on TikTok. It's well filmed, it's well angled, they've gone out and seen real people. They have captioned it nicely, nice fonts, easy to read. But then the next one has got like a jumble of fonts. So I think even if you are using a platform to tell a story and you're aiming at that demographic, you still need to balance the stuff that is doing well, the stuff that's trending, the cool stuff, with your own alignment and with, what you really stand for. And just generally moving away from the political discussion, moving more towards a business point of view. And this is something I've repeated lots, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing it, but if something is trending or funny or doing really well and getting lots of traction, if it doesn't align with you and your values, then why are you using it? Because when we think about being professional, we put ourselves out there, and if you want to, even if you can be fun as well, you can be fun and professional. You can be, you can have a light-hearted tone but still be professional where it matters. If that is the case, and I kind of hope it is, then why belittle that by jumping on a trend that either makes you look like you're not taking it seriously or just is a bit grating? Now, maybe I'm not the viewer for that content. Maybe I'm not a demographic for that content, for those people that, jump from one thing to another and there's no real consistency and there's no brand values. And I just feel it lacks kind of professionalism. To me, I then sort of think, well, that's the company's values, that's their core values, and that can really turn me off. That might not be the same for you. So I think it's going to be interesting the next few weeks. Obviously there's an election, so it should be a bit interesting. Honestly, I'm quite excited to see what comes out on social media, because I think that will be really interesting. I think it's a masterstroke that they're using it. And I'm excited to see how it develops and how their strategy refines over time. And even potentially the impact that has. Obviously you can see the comments, I can see the likes, I can see the engagement, but the impact that has at the end of the day as well in people going to vote or going to say their opinion. I think it could be really fascinating. I'd love your thoughts on this. Not from a political point of view, not from, well, I'm going to vote this or that, because you do you, we're not here for this. But I'm interested in what you think about political parties getting on Instagram, getting on Facebook, getting on TikTok, and using it as a really strong, essentially marketing channel. What do you think about that? When you're scrolling through looking at dogs and recipes and cats doing silly things, do you expect to see a politician talking to you? Is it quite jarring? I actually think the way that some of them have done it isn't jarring at all. It's very native, but still not quite as light-hearted as a lot of the stuff that I look at on TikTok particularly. What do you think? Let me know. Hop on over to Instagram. You know, I spend a whole lot of time there, far too much time. Don't tell anybody. Tell me what you think. Or send me a DM. I'm at Ria Freeman PR on Instagram. And if you've been listening thinking, she sounds like she might know a thing or two, thank you, that's kind. But if you would like to leave a review and a lovely comment about the podcast on whichever platform you listen to, I'd be super, super, super grateful. It all helps. It gives people more of an opportunity. It entices people to listen. And the more people that listen, the better everything gets. So please do that. I'd be super grateful. Let me know if you do as well, and I will screenshot and share it when it comes through. Thanks so much. Have a great week. Take care.